boys and girls. Today we're going to read a book called Rufus Goes to School by Kim T. Griswell, illustrated by Valeri Gorbachev. So Valeri Gorbachev is the illustrator. She drew the pictures. Kim Griswell is the author. She wrote the words. Rufus Goes to School is the title of the book. Rufus Goes to School. Every day, Rufus Leroy Williams III turned to the pages of his favorite book. He looked at every picture. He made up stories to go with them, but he could not read the words. Rufus knew just what to do. He would go to school and learn to read, but first he needed a backpack. Early the next morning, Rufus scuttled down the street to school. He peeked through the front door. We've seen the same character a couple pages in a row. What's that character's name? Rufus. He's the main character. He's on every page, and his name was in the title. He must be important. Then Rufus trotted down the hall to the principal's office. He was greeted by the principal's secretary. Principal Lipid's secretary knocked on his door. "There's a pig to see you." Rufus stepped forward. "My name is Rufus Leroy Williams III, he said. "I have a backpack, and I am ready for school." The principal shook his head. "No pigs in school." "Why not?" asked Rufus. "Because pigs track mud in the halls," said Principal Lipid. "They turn their drawings into airplanes. They play leapfrog in class, and they start food fights in the cafeteria. You know, none of those things are okay at school. We have to be neat in the hall and not have muddy feet. We don't ever turn paper into airplanes at school. We cannot jump at school inside, and we definitely don't throw food at school." So the principal is saying pigs do these things, and so pigs cannot be in school. Rufus frowned. "But I have a backpack." "Makes no difference," said Principal Lipid, and he showed Rufus the door. Rufus Leroy Williams III really wanted to go to school, and he knew just what he needed: a lunchbox. Right before lunchtime, the secretary poked her head into Principal Lipid's office. "The pig is back," she whispered. "My name is Rufus Leroy Williams III, he said. "I have a backpack and a lunchbox. I am ready for school." The principal folded his arms. "No pigs in school." "Why not?" asked Rufus. "Because pigs knock over block towers," said Principal Lipid, "and they hide under the teacher's desk. Pigs draw stick figures on the chalkboard." He waggled a finger at Rufus. "And they chase their classmates during recess." So again, these are things you cannot do at school. We do not knock over other people's work with the blocks. We do not hide under tables. We do not crawl on the floor like that. We don't draw on the chalkboard. We don't use whiteboards unless we're told to. We don't write on the walls or furniture. And we don't chase our classmates during recess unless we're supposed to. But certainly we don't spray them with things or put water on them. So the principal is saying pigs do these things, so pigs are not allowed at school. "But I have a backpack and a lunchbox," Rufus frowned. "Makes no difference," said Principal Lipid, and he waved Rufus out the door. So the principal is saying it does not matter if he has a backpack or a lunchbox. He's talking about behavior. How we behave at school is very important. I can see Rufus looking through the window, and it looks like these children are napping. So they're probably not even in kindergarten yet, because we don't get to take naps in kindergarten. Maybe they're in pre-K. But it gives him an idea. Rufus Leroy Williams III really, really wanted to go to school, and he knew just what he needed, a blanket. We don't bring blankets to school because we're kindergarten, but if you were pre-K, you might need a blanket. During nap time, the secretary opened Principal Lippitt's door. "Sir?" Rufus Leroy Williams III rushed past her. "I have a backpack, a lunchbox, and a blanket, and now I am really ready for school." The principal sighed. "I told you, no pigs—" "Wait," said Rufus. "I will never blow bubbles in my milk, or finger paint my classmates. I will not stand on my head during nap time, or leave nose prints on the windows, and I will come to school every day." So he's telling the principal he will not make a mess with his milk. He will not make a mess with finger paint. He will not touch all of his classmates. He's not going to goof around at school. And he's going to come every day. Coming every day is an important part of school. "Sorry," the principal shook his head. "No pigs in school." "But I have a backpack, a lunchbox, and a blanket," said Rufus. "Is that all?" asked the principal. Rufus frowned. What else could he need for school? "I have this." Rufus held up his favorite book. "And I want to learn to read it." "Ah!" Principal Lippett smiled. "That makes a difference." And he escorted Rufus out of his office and down the hall. Why do you think it makes a difference? He wants to learn to read. That's what school's about, wanting to learn. "This is Rufus Leroy Williams III, Principal Lippett announced as they entered a classroom, and he will be joining your class." "Hooray!" shouted the boys and girls. Rufus Leroy Williams III put away his backpack, his lunchbox, his blanket, and his favorite book. He was ready for school. Now, when we get a new child in our classroom, we might be happy to see them and we might clap for them and say welcome, but we will not throw our pencils and paper in the air like that. Rufus loved learning the ABCs, especially the letter P. Why do you think Rufus likes the letter P so much? P says P. Like in the word P, pig. He loved learning the 1, 2, 3s. He loved lunchtime and nap time. But Rufus loved story time most of all. There he is. Because it gave him room to dream. So here's the book, The Pirates. And here's his thought bubble. And he's thinking about being a pirate, and he's picturing it in his head what it would look like. So this isn't the type of dream we do when we're asleep. This is our thinking dream, to picture it in a book. Think about it and make a movie in your head. And now he's reading his book because he goes to school to learn to read. Thank you so much for reading Rufus Goes to School with Me. Do you remember who the main character is in this book? Remember, a character is a person or animal that's important in the story. You're right, Rufus is the most important character. We see him almost every single page. He's the main character. Are there any other characters in this book? Any other people or animals that are important? The principal, yeah, we saw him on a lot of pages. He's definitely important in this story. And the secretary, she's a character. Thank you so much for reading with me today. I hope you remember that what is important about school is wanting to learn. Every day we should come and do our best because we want to learn. That's what school's all about.